Knockin Doorz Down. Jason LaChance here with the devastatingly handsomely tattooed Mikey.
What's going on, everybody?
And we've got Scott Stapp with us.
What?
This is so awesome. How's it going, good sir?
Going good, man. Good to be with you guys.
Yes, thank you for your time. You're looking excellent, man. And I'm really enjoying the space between the shadows. Of course, your latest album that came out last year, and we'll talk about that and get into some of the stuff because there's a couple songs on there for me, a little bit autobiographical and inspirational. But what we want to touch on, of course, Knockin Doorz Down, we're focusing on mental health month right now, and you had a background of some issues with mental health and addiction.
Yeah, man.
Where did it kind of start for you? Was it something that you noticed with childhood, or did it kind of as fame took off and success that it was just coping, or where for you really did it start?
You know, it just came out of the blue, right around sometime between the ages of 23 and 25. I just had almost a sudden onset of depression. And it really made no sense because nothing in my life should have been a catalyst for that happening, because everything in my life was going awesome. All my dreams were coming true professionally and as an artist, and so it really goes to show that, it's something that doesn't necessarily have to be precipitated by any type of negative life event. It's an illness, and it can come on, and it really hit hard.
Yeah. Well, is there within your family any sort of history of it? I know for me with addiction, it's runs on both sides of my parents' family, and my father, who's been in recovery. Geez, I think he's 19 years sober now. So, I know for me, it ran in my family along with depression and some other mental health issues, of which I've suffered depression and anxiety.
Yeah. I believe there were a couple family members on one side of my family that dealt with alcoholism and addiction. But to my knowledge, not it's just hearsay. I don't know. I never met them.
Right.
But I'm sure, I'm sure there were some folks, especially on one side of my family that dealt with some things. Yeah.
I was talking
not like my immediate family, like my mother or father. I believe it was a cousin.
Yeah, I was talking to Jason the other day. I think it was yesterday, actually. Like, I just got anxiety right around 21 or 22, and everything's fine. Everyone's good, family's good, bills are paid, and it hits you. You know what I mean? It's like you don't know where it comes from, you don't know why it comes, but like you said, everything in my life was fine. You know what I mean? I was doing okay financially and all that, and then bam, it just hit. So I totally relate to that. It sucks, and it's
Yeah, man. It came out of nowhere, and then for me, I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't even know what it was.
Sure.
I just knew I felt different. It affected me really physically.
Right.
Yeah.
No energy, weak, just wanted to isolate, stay in bed all day, not thinking clearly, but life had to go on.
Yeah.
We were in the middle of touring and all kinds of things, and it couldn't stop. And so that's when I began to increase the self-medication. I think at that point in my life, there were already signs periodically that drinking was a problem.
Right.
I think more so to my friends than to me, because I think I was the only guy that, maybe once a week or every other week was blacking out and not remembering the night before, getting a little too out of control. But since it wasn't like daily or even every week there for a time, I didn't think there was a problem.
Mhm.
And maybe even the people around me, even though they knew that that was kind of a, not normal, maybe they didn't even really think it was a problem yet. I don't think any of us were thinking that way. But looking back, I can see there were indicators there. And so when the depression hit, man, I just began to self-medicate.
Mhm.
The drinking increased to feel better. And, it just, it just led me down to a very dark place that just progressively got worse and worse and worse.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can relate to that all too well. I think a lot of it, people forget, don't think of the brain as an organ that also comes to different levels of maturity, and we know so little about our brains that when these things start to connect, I know for me it was also about that late teens, early 20s where the depression really started to set in, and I kind of took it as being a little lost in the world, and my dad was just getting sober, and not fully understanding that it's just kind of the way that my brain works. And it's taken me such a long time to acknowledge that I needed help. I needed
Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely, man. And that's the key. And it took me many, many years to finally, I guess, surrender to the idea
yeah,
that it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
that I didn't have to carry this. It wasn't weakness. Uh, you know, I, it was actually a strength to reach out and let someone know that I was feeling a certain way, or I couldn't control my drinking, or whatever the issue may be, that help was needed. And so for anyone out there, man, that's listening, don't be afraid to ask for help. That's the biggest thing.
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely. And it really is, because I think you said it best. What the isolating is, that's so common for us addicts to do,
Yeah.
which is quite ironic because we really want connectivity, I think, or at least I know for me, and I just didn't know how to do it on a non-superficial level when I was out drinking, or whatever it is, or hosting a concert, or hanging out with rock stars or whatever.
Right.
Hey, it's a big
Right.
party, and here we go, and obviously I'm connecting and I'm cool and whatever it was, when really I just felt so empty and alone internally, that now, having a support group, I've started to develop that connectivity that's improved my personal relationships, that with my kids and
Uh,
my family and everything. So it really is, it's a necessary thing to do, to take that step when you need that help.
oh, absolutely. And I think for a lot of people, you know, um, for me, and I'll start with myself. I had a little anxiety in social situations,
Mhm.
looking back, and so I would drink to lose that,
Sure. Of
and
course.
loosen up, and not
Yeah.
feel that. I didn't really understand that's what it was uh, at the time, um, and but now I know that, and not everybody's like that.
Mhm.
Most people who I call normies, they're not like that. They don't feel this little bit of uncomfortableness or anxiety around other people, or meeting new people, or in social gatherings, or whatnot, and don't feel a need to have to self-medicate or inebriate, or put something in their body to relax and be able to walk into those situations.
Mhm.
And so that goes to what you were saying about anxiety.
Yeah.
There was definitely some of that going on. It's so weird that I'm a guy that gets on stage and
Yeah.
sings and performs in front of people. You think, God, how could this guy have anxiety? But I still, to this day, before every show, I'm nervous before I walk out there.
Oh, I can
um,
imagine, yeah.
I just know how to embrace it now, and I've learned to walk through, my fears, and walk through things.
Mhm.
And get out there and then it just goes away. And that connection is so
Yeah.
special. And I'm so glad that, I'm in a place where I've found sobriety.
Mm-hmm.
I've found health and healing. I'm at a place where I can enjoy life from that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fresh place to be. And for those of you in recovery, man, we just take it 24 hours at a time. And for me, those 24 hours add up, and you learn a new way of living life.
Sure.
And being in the now and being present, and just appreciating things that for so many years I took for granted, or wasn't present enough to appreciate.
Right.
And so I'm just grateful and thankful to have found this new lifestyle and this new life, and able to share my experience with others out there that may still be battling with this, maybe on the fence, maybe even unaware until they hear our conversation.
Sure.
And they relate and go, wait a minute, maybe I do have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe the people around me are afraid to tell me, because that's very common, especially with younger people. I think now in today's society, people are a lot more educated on mental health issues and on addiction and alcohol abuse issues. And so I think a lot of that stigma is coming off. And so people are talking about it more openly.
Yeah. For sure.
People are talking to their friends and, letting people know, like, hey man, is everything all right? Hey, let me be honest with you. And you'll always know someone cares about you and truly loves and cares about you if they start that sentence with, hey man, let me be honest with you. And share some truth in your life that maybe you don't want to hear, and then maybe it doesn't feel good to hear it, but maybe it's exactly what you need to hear, because I know my wife has been that for me.
Sure.
Yeah. I know that I've read a couple of interviews where you really talked about that your wife, and even the point in what she said, Scott, it's the kids and I, or we're leaving if you don't get help.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man. And she had endured and stuck by me, and for so many years, while I tried to battle this on my own without help, just white knuckling it, and I'd make it 3 months, and then I'd go on a bender, and the kids were so young that and nothing was going on at the house. So they weren't really aware of it. They just thought, oh, daddy's gone, he must be working.
Right.
And so eventually it got to the point where, she knew that they were going to reach an age, and they were reaching an age where they were going to be aware that there was something else going on. And also, she had been on a roller coaster, man. And so she showed me some tough love.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so glad I had a moment of clarity in the midst of a pretty crazy relapse, where I could think for a second and realize, man, I do not want to lose my wife and my family. And I also began to reflect on, in that moment, on everything else, and how, my disease and drugs and alcohol had affected the previous 10, 15 years of my life, and slowly taken away everything and everyone that I loved, and had ruined and destroyed big portions of my life. And so having all that kind of sink in, it was like, I'm going to go get help, and I'm going to do whatever they tell me to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to surrender, because I do not have the answer. I can't solve this. I've tried, and it just keeps getting worse. And that's really when true change started within me, is when the ego got out of the way. I got honest with myself and with others, and just said, hey, you know how to be sober, you know how to be healthy, you know how to overcome or get the proper care for depression, anxiety, whatever your issues may be, help me.
Yeah.
I'll do whatever you say. And once I did that, true change began to happen. And now I'm sitting here with you guys 5.5 years sober later,
Awesome.
and talking about a new record and helping other people.
I am 5150.
I have the power to choose my own path.
When you're 5150, you choose to stand out.
If you choose to believe in yourself and trust your strength, will carry you through.
Choose to strive for greatness.
Choose to do good.
And help make the world a better place. Choose to be passionate enough to chase your dreams.
I am 5150.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's what it's all about. Because when we're helping other people, we're outside of our own brains, man. Yeah. We're outside of ourselves.
Yeah.
And the worst thing for me, man, is to get locked up inside of here for too long. You know what I mean?
Well.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So fortunately, I have an outlet with writing and creating. But I've got to come up for air, man, and stay connected, and keep talking with people. And so I participate in a recovery meeting. I have a sponsor. I have people I talk to, and I change my lifestyle. To everything to address the issues that I had, so I could finally embrace, happiness and peace and love and a normal lifestyle, man. It's out there for people to have if they want it. And I think you guys have found that. And it's good for us to share and talk about it, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. And I know that was, for me, it was interesting because as I was telling you before we started recording, that Carlos Vieira that wrote his book, Knockin Doorz Down, that the purpose of the podcast was our motto was, if I could help just one person, it'd all be worth it. Well, and I found for me, and I had told him recently, that you have helped one person, me, because it's given me now an outlet where I went from, rock radio, DJ, program director, and operations manager to now where I can really actually talk about this in this kind of forum and have a totally different kind of connectivity that has been so incredibly helpful for me, because it's given purpose to all the damage that I did with my addiction, the divorce, the issues of that relationship, going through another long-term relationship that fell apart and connected to my addiction, and to rebuild, to being a proud father and doing a great job with my kids and just loving them. And it was funny because my ex-wife came over the other day and Mikey was there at the house and he goes, "Wow, divorced people don't get along that well."
Yeah, I was like, you guys are weird, man. You guys get along way too well.
And it's like, well, we do, we've worked through all those things, and we genuinely care for each other and want to be great parents to our kids and just keep it all in perspective. So for me, it's turning that adversity into this advantage, and it's been such a privilege and an honor to do so.
Dude, it's so amazing that you bring up the word purpose, because it could be so easy for us to look back at the wreckage of our past, and the dark days and the dark times, and let that cause us to walk around with embarrassment and guilt and shame. And what we have to offer now, by helping others that are going through the same things, and by spreading the word, and by being available to others in need, man, that gives us purpose.
Yes.
And that takes that mess and turns it into a message. And so it's so cool to hear you say that, because that's what you're saying. And that's what, not to take it off the seriousness of the topic, but that's what the first single off my new record, The Space Between the Shadows, Purpose for Pain, was all about.
Yeah.
That was finding a purpose for that pain, man.
Yeah.
When I did, it changed my whole mindset. And it made me reflect on those times, of course, you know, there are things I wish I could change, but now I use those things and those experiences and those stories and those things that I share to connect and relate with people who are going through similar stuff. And in some cases, I'm like, hey, man, this is where it can end up. And I can tell you from personal experience. Or I know exactly where you are right now, man, and you don't have to be there anymore. And so, man, that's finding purpose. And I love what you said about helping, you know, even if it's just one person, you know what I mean? That's a powerful mentality to have. And that's really the key to long-term sobriety and staying sober, is being open and willing to help other people. And I think that can impact people with depression or with anxiety. If you're helping someone else with those same issues, you're helping yourself while you're helping them.
Yeah.
It's an interesting cycle that happens. And so, man, it's amazing to hear you say that, man.
Yeah. You know, and I found it just so important that mentorship and being a mentee is such an integral part of it all as well. You know, of course, you also being a father, obviously, you know, we're mentors to our children, but through this process of sobriety as well, you know, like you mentioned, you have a sponsor still. So, you know, someone that you look to as a mentor, but it allows you to, you know, continue that cycle of helping one another by passing along the messages and lessons and not just through your art, which we do want to talk about the space between shadows here in just a bit, which Survivor is my favorite song on the album. It just kick ass because when I came on to Creed, it was songs like Bullets and stuff like that I was like, oh yeah, this kicks major ass, you know. But how are you finding the response? Is there people that are reaching out to you that are, you know, hey Scott, thank you for sharing your story. It's helped me.
Yeah, you know what, the reaction has been, you know, just humbling, overwhelming. You know, I read a lot of the mail that comes in from the fans, and to hear them share their story and how, you know, this record and me opening up and sharing my story has helped them, has you know, it's just been, it's been amazing to hear, you know, and just them saying that to me, you know, has solidified a purpose in me, has also continued to bring healing within me. And I appreciate them so much. And I'm so grateful that my situation, and then what I share about those situations through the music has been able to connect with people, and you know, bring them some level of healing and hopefully help them in their journey in life, man.
$51.50 apparel, lifestyle with a purpose.
Scott, I got a question for you that someone that we work with passed along. I guess they knew some folks that you know as well when you were first starting in music, and so she wanted me to see if you could confirm the story that you were sleeping on a friend's, rather on their floor or something like that, because you didn't want to let your folks know that you were dropping out of school to pursue being a musician. Is there any accuracy to that at all?
I have spent many nights on a friend's couch or on a friend's floor. But as far as to do that because I was dropping out of school to pursue music, that part's the twist.
Okay.
I actually was enrolled in college, and in my senior year, already past midterms, when Creed got a record deal. And so the only reason that I ended up not finishing my senior year is because we got, shipped out to start showcasing and having to go here and having to go there and going to New York. And I couldn't finish. And so that's when I withdrew from school.
I think it worked out for you, though. I think you did pretty well.
Yeah, it ended up working out. But you know what? Something deep down inside of me has always wanted to finish, man. I was so close. I was 15 hours away.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, from graduation, 5 classes, and I had already half the year. So I'm sure it's more now. If I was to go back, it's probably more the curriculum's changed. But at some point in my life, I definitely want to finish up that degree.
Yeah.
Just so when I tell my kids they got to, go to college and finish a degree, they can't look at me and say, well, you didn't.
Right.
Just
that
like,
way
yeah, I did.
Well, what about you, Dad?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the worst part of being a parent. Nothing amplifies your hypocritical actions and words like parenthood, does it?
You're exactly right. You gotta live what you say, because your kids, they're so smart, man. They'll point it out.
Oh God, yeah. My daughter, she is just she's a pistol. Mikey can confirm that. And boy, she keeps me on my toes with it. 10 years old, and but Dad, I heard you saying this, and then you were doing that. It's like, son of a, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of shot myself in the foot for my future unborn kids who asked to get their first tattoo. I don't know what I'm going to tell them when I say no. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you don't want to do that as your cover.
Well, all you got to do is start ingraining in their brain, if you don't want them to, when they're little, how painful it is and how much blood comes out and how big, the needles.
Oh, yeah.
It's
funny you say that.
Start implanting fear, just serious in the brain as soon as they start noticing it.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe that'll work.
My nephews are like, did that one hurt or did this one hurt right here? I'm like, you can't imagine the pain that I felt when it was on my throat. It's something I hope you guys never go through. And they're just
blood
with their eyes wide open.
Needles.
Yeah, man. I think we're good. I don't think they will. So good. Thank you for that.
Scott, I just realized I thought I had interviewed you years ago, but I realized, no, this is our first conversation. So I don't really know much on the background of the formation of Creed, how you guys came together, because, I was kind of under the impersonation too, that maybe you had left college and, then the band started and then eventually it took off. But how'd you guys meet? Was it something where you just saw Mark playing, guitar at a club and went, hey, I want to work with that guy? Or
no, Mark and I went to high school together.
Oh, okay.
In Orlando, and I knew he played guitar in high school, and he knew that I sang, and then we ended up not knowingly both at Florida State University years later. Probably I want to say 4 years out of high school for me, 3 years out of high school for him. I was looking to start a band and mentioned it to a friend who also went to high school with us. And that friend said, Tremonti lives here. Maybe you guys should get together. And so we got together and started jamming and writing songs. And then, over the next year and a half or so, we ended up going through, a couple drummers and a few bass players or whatnot, and then ended up finding Scott Phillips and Brian Marshall. And so we formed in college. Nice. And Brian was going to FSU. He actually graduated before we got a record deal. We were all in college, all friends, and working, going to college and living the college life, and rehearsing and just looking back, I can't believe we did so much. Just is crazy, man. But it was very organic and very real.
Yeah, nice. That's always cool to hear that when it goes that way. Yeah, I'm always interested if do you recollect who came up with the band's name? and how it came about? Was it like, I've heard people where they wrote names down forever, or they threw out some name and they're like, yeah, that's it. We'll just call it that until we figure something else out, and they never changed the name.
Yeah, we had bounced around with different band names, and one day at rehearsal, Brian Marshall threw out a band that he had been in prior, and Creed was a part of their band name. It wasn't their band name. It was a word within their band name.
Yeah.
And me being the primary lyricist, heard that word and knew how well it connected with what I was writing about, and also I just think the word sounded so strong to all of us that it didn't take any convincing. I think it was kind of like a group. That's it. You know what I mean? Like all at once.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how it was born.
That's cool. Well, speaking of being primary lyricist, what was it like working on The Space Between Shadows? Of course, the new album, folks can go to scottstapp.com, get some cool deluxe bundles and stuff. I'm a big vinyl guy, so I'm going to have to jump on that. But
yeah, man.
How was the process with writing this? Because there is a lot of very strong lyrics in the music connected to your sobriety and being living a purposeful life and encouraging others to do the same.
Yeah, man. I had a lot to reflect on, when I started writing this record. I had finally had some real sober time under my belt for the first time in my life.
Yeah.
I had really began the process of making serious changes in my life, changing old habits, doing a real 180 in terms of many aspects in my life. And so I had a lot of time during the first couple years of getting, reconnected with my family and just getting grounded and stable in my recovery, to really reflect and write down a lot of things. And so that's where this album came from. And I got together with some buddies of mine that I had written songs with before in the past, Scott Stevens, Marty Fredrickson, who ended up producing the record. We've been friends for a while. And then I wrote with Zach Malloy and from the Nixons and Blair Daly. We had all been writing buddies before. And we have such a good chemistry and camaraderie. That, things start small, a lot of times, with just me and one person, me and a guitar and another guitar player, or me and just someone else on guitar, trading stories, sharing ideas, me thumbing through notes or thumbing through lyrics. Like, what do you think about this line, that line? And just starting to freestyle. I just had a lot in me, and surrounded myself with friends and people that I respected and admired as musicians, as collaborators, and as producers. The album came together, man. It's something that we're all proud of, and I was happy to share with the world.
Yeah, I know that when I was still working in radio, we're located in the Central Valley, near Sacramento, and you did a show there, and we sent some, I unfortunately couldn't make it, but we sent some listeners, and a few of them met you and just said it was the coolest experience, that you're not only a great show, but that you were such a gentleman. And it was like, they're like, it was like talking to a normal guy. I'm like, well, yeah, he is a normal human being,
Oh, that's cool. I appreciate that. But you're right, man. I am just a regular guy who happens to do music. I'd like to think of myself that way. I'm probably, if you ask my wife, a lot stranger than I'd like to think I am. But I love my fans and love people and just try to let them know every time I meet them.
Yeah. Well, I definitely look forward to, hopefully once all this gets lifted with the COVID, if you make it back out to the West Coast, to be able to finally see you do some solo stuff. I'd seen Creed a couple of times, so it'd be cool to finally get to see what you're doing now in person and experience it.
Yeah, man. We don't know when that day is going to come.
Mhm.
We're still, seems like, in the thick of things, especially the concert business and the touring world. And so we want to make sure our fans are safe. The band and crew is safe. And so when that day comes and can't wait to get back out on the road and do what I love and share these songs live, continue to share them live. We toured a lot last year, all over the US. We still have a European tour slated for the end of October through November. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that is going to happen. And so, we're playing it day by day and we'll see what happens. So anyone who's currently got tickets to shows that I have on the books right now that were on sale, just stay in touch with my website and my social media accounts, because updates are coming very soon on which shows we're not going to be able to do because of this. And it's unfortunate, man, but we all are in this together and want to keep everybody safe and stop the spread.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's such an odd dichotomy and just, I mean, I'm 41, so you and I are about the same age. Is just never having seen anything like this in my life whatsoever. I did my first AA Zoom meeting earlier this week, and it was like, wow, this is kind of a trip here. This is a weird way to, normally you do your circle at the end and talk the steps and working the steps, and it was quite a different way of going about it, for sure.
Yeah, man, the world is forever changed. I think in some ways people, and it's just my opinion, in some ways people have found that they can get a lot done, at home.
Yeah.
And through their computers. So, and then, in terms of how we understand, contagious illnesses, just like the regular cold and flu.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm going to be like I have a heightened awareness of people around me when they cough and they sneeze, just like, man, if you're sick, stay home.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? We give that to each other. So probably going to be a lot of people wearing masks for a long time. I don't know, man. I don't know what the world's going to look like, but I know we're going to get through this and be stronger because of it. That's my hope.
I think so. And I've noticed, at least folks that I've been talking to, that, again, an adversity becoming an advantage of, now you are around, say, your family more often or what, whereas maybe you were out, and people are just kind of refocusing on family a little bit different. I know I have, which I've just tried to look at the gift of what is in this situation. Okay, so my kids and we can't, I like to take them to concerts. We did Tool last year and, stuff like that. So we had to cancel some different shows, but, we've kind of refocused and listened to a different variety of music at home or building Legos, playing games, whatever it is. So we took the negative and made it a positive so that we could actually bond a lot more.
Yeah, man. I mean, we've got to find the silver lining the best we can to keep our head above water. My heart goes out to those that, are having to deal with some harsh realities. You know what I mean? Like their rent, groceries.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of organizations out there that are there for you. So, reach out to those. And hopefully we can all get back to work soon. Yeah. But there definitely has been some silver linings in this, with the time spent with our kids and and our families that we wouldn't normally have.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Mr. Stapp, is there anything else you would like to let people know other than obviously scottstapp.com? The new album, The Space Between Shadows, is available there on digital platforms, Spotify, Apple Music and such.
Just like my new single Survivor just went to radio a few weeks ago. So if you haven't heard that, stream it, go to Spotify, Apple Music, wherever your streaming platform is, and check that out. And then hit me up on my socials. Let me know what you think. That's it, man. It was great talking to you guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you. It was great talking to you. It's cool. Been a fan of the music for a long time, and I would like to take the step a little further just to say, as an inspiration of what you've done with your life, even bigger fan of that, and something that I could, when I get closer and more down the line into my sobriety, to see those kind of positive changes happen. So, from a personal level, really appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you so much, man. And hey, man, one day at a time. And we can do this, man. Stay strong. And I appreciate you guys, and look forward to seeing you once we're back out on the road. Make sure you hit me up, come backstage, say hi. And
dude, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Absolutely. And for those that are listening, if you're following us on social media, that's Knockin Doorz Down on Instagram and Facebook. We have shared the latest single up there from YouTube, so go check out Scott's song Survivor. My favorite song on the album. It's the kind of rock that I love. Good hard rock, inspirational, motivational, and it's a great album. So folks, make sure to check it out. All right.
Thank you guys, man. Thank you so much, dude.